guys, welcome back to ASMR Millionaire Money Mentor. I'm Evan Thomas, your host. I hope you all had a great day. Maybe you're relaxing now after a long day. Maybe you've come back to the ASMR Money Mentor because you want to do better with money, and I hope that all of you are doing well. You know, when I was broke and didn't have much money and I was trying to do better, I really had a hard time sleeping. So if that represents you guys, I hope that these videos help you to relax and to just stop and think about how you can do better with money. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I got to $1 million net worth in the year 2020. It's 2024 right now. You might be watching this video a little bit later, but right now I sit at 1.5 million. I like to teach people how they can do it as well, as long as you have income and a whole lot of discipline. A lot of it has to do with income, but you know what? Most of us have an income. A lot of times money is not the problem, it's other things, as you know. It has more to do with your behaviors and what you do going forward that is so critical. And in this week's episodes, we're moving on to 2007. So again, if you're new to my channel, go back and watch these sequentially. Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. if you want to learn how to become wealthy. I've been talking about wealth has to do with how much money you accumulate in your lifetime, but it's not as important in terms of how much money you end up with. It's how much are your expenses. You need a lot less money in your engine that you're creating if your expenses are super low. We talked about that last week. And again, we're moving on to 2007. So I do have a beverage. Chamomile tea. So join me or just relax. If you're a fan of ASMR, which I'm sure that you are because you found me, most of us like water triggers. And when I was broke and I had trouble sleeping, I would always stop and think about money. And so I hope that you guys enjoy this episode and this week's episodes. This week, it's all about, in 2007, I remember thinking to myself, who wants to be a millionaire? And I decided that I wanted to become a millionaire. So we're going to be talking this week about who wants to be a millionaire. In a couple days, I'm going to drop an episode about the belief in yourself and automation, how you can set it and forget it. And then when we come back at the end of the week, I want to talk about net worth and how it's different than the money that you accumulate. I'm sure that you know what net worth is, but it's important to remind ourselves about net worth. And for me, I always wanted my net worth to be more in assets that could be liquid rather than ones that were not liquid. So I'll talk more about that as we move forward this week. if you think about it. I wasn't making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 per year. Back in 1990, I had my first job out of college. I don't know if I shared that with you before. I probably did. 24 years old, I had all these hopes and dreams and aspirations, but I really didn't know how to achieve those types of things, especially when it came to money. 1995, I had my bankruptcy. I was age 29. I was devastated. In 1998, I found the job with the company that I'm with now that gave me the opportunity to make a little bit more money every single year. Now, you can do that as well, or you can find other companies and jump around. People do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You just have to make sure that you make a little bit more every year. Remember last week I talked about it took me 18 years to go from $40,000 of income to $120,000 of income. You have to look at it as a long time horizon. Every year, trying to make a little bit more money, and it's what you do with that money then that has the best impact on if you're going to create a good financial destiny for yourself. 2005, I found the Susie Orman Show, The Young, Fabulous, and Broke. I knew I was still young. I was 39. I thought I was fabulous, and I knew I was broke. And in 2006, I was broke. I was broke at 40. And you guys know I have a podcast of the same name, which you can go take a look at. So that brings us now to 2007. 2007. My goodness, how old were you in 2007? I was 41 years old. And I was broke, right? And again, I started thinking about what it meant to build wealth. I wasn't thinking about retirement, and I don't want you guys to think about retirement either. Retirement is like this lofty goal out in the future. If you're young, if you're 35 or you're 40, you have a lot of years. I want you to be thinking more about building financial security. Now, I will say, however, that I was thinking in 2007 about people that would maybe win the lottery. Or remember that TV show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I think they did it a few times. And I remember thinking, like, where are those people now if they had a big windfall of a whole lot of money? Where did they really go? Because if you're not good with money and suddenly you get a windfall of money, most people spend it on assets. On liabilities that are not assets. Like vehicles, vacations, clothing, etc., right? Liabilities. There's no way you can build wealth by spending money on liabilities. I did it. I bought all $40,000 of debt during my bankruptcy on clothing at the mall, right? We talked about that. So it was in 2007 that I thought, wow, could I really become a millionaire? It was a lofty goal. I didn't think I could really do it. And as we will talk about as I move forward next week, 2008 was the Great Recession. Little did I know that the Great Recession would propel me into the future of building wealth. One thing that we cannot control, as you know, as savers late in life, or if you're starting early, we can't control what markets are going to do. We don't know right now, sitting in 2024, if there's going to be a bear market or another recession coming up in the future, but history tells us that it will happen. There have been dozens of bear markets over the past 70, 80, 100 years. Bear markets, if you're not familiar with that, means when stock valuations go down 20% or more. And in the Great Recession, they went down 50%. You heard that correctly, 50. Now in 2008, Now, in 2007, of course, I had no idea that 2008 would come. I'm getting ahead of myself because you guys know I get really excited when I talk about money. So, 2008 and 2009, can't wait to talk about those years. But back to 2007, I remember watching the Susie Orman show on a Saturday night. I would have recorded it probably on my VHS machine. Used to sit up on this dresser right over here, or this chest, my television, and I would record. I had a life, I would do things, and then I would watch the recordings. And it was the first time again that I really truly thought, how could I become a millionaire? Not the lottery millionaires, not the people that get windfalls of money, but how could I do it on my own? And I will say that this book, The Millionaire Next Door, also changed everything for me. Thomas Stanley, William Danko. Not many people have books anymore, do they? Everything is electronic. But this book taught me the lessons of frugality. It was something that I had already known about myself. And in 2007, I will say there's a couple things in this book that I learned that did change everything. And that's how we're going to end this episode in a few minutes. You know, I want to say that when you read a book about finance, whether it be The Millionaire Next Door, or last week I think I talked about The Psychology of Money, there's usually going to be one or two key takeaways that will resonate with you. And the one key takeaway that resonated with me with The Millionaire Next Door was that this is where I learned the difference between a UAW and a PAW. So let's break that down. What's a UAW and what's a PAW? A UAW is an underachiever of wealth. The underachievers of wealth look like they have money. They've got the big homes, they've got the expensive cars, they've got the clothing, they've got the expensive vacations, and they do not hesitate putting that on Instagram, on Facebook, on all other social media. They want you to know they're doing really great because they have a big income. They may be making $200,000 a year, but guess what? They're probably spending $200,000 per year. Underachievers of wealth can get by in life and probably do just fine because they're living in the moment. But when they stop working is when they panic because they don't have the engine that they've created. They may need to rely on Social Security as their sole source of income, and it's really sad because underachievers of wealth never quite understand the concept of a prodigious accumulator of wealth. You want to become a PAW, a prodigious accumulator of wealth. You want to be a quiet millionaire. You want to become the millionaire next door, that nobody knows that you are a millionaire. And you have to believe right now, if you're building your wealth, that you will become a millionaire. Remember, as long as you have income and you keep your expenses down. So, in wrapping up this episode, this week again, we're talking about who wants to become a millionaire. I chose to believe that I could become a millionaire. Just like I shared with you previously, the Pike's Place Fish Market in Seattle, Washington, they wanted to become world famous before they were. So I took that concept and I decided that I wanted to become something that I wasn't. And so I put all of my energies and thoughts into wanting to build financial security and to become a prodigious accumulator of wealth. So that's what I have for you guys today. Do me a favor, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it so I can